So today I have the absolute pleasure of chatting with Bjorn Strid, frontman for the incredible Night Flight Orchestra, who are touring Australia later this month. In fact, the tour starts in Melbourne 2 weeks from today and sees you through to early June. Welcome to the Rockpit. How are you?
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, lots of interviews now, Aussie interviews for the tour, so that's great.
Excellent. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of years since you were last here, and since then we've been gifted with the Stella Give Us the Moon album. You seem to have a
Hmm.
love affair with Australia. What makes Australia so special to yourself and to the band?
Yeah, I mean, this is the second time, and I mean, I didn't expect us to come to Australia with the Night Flight Orchestra, so that was a big surprise to begin with, and we have quite a following now, for this band, and obviously I've been to Australia many times with Soilwork as well. My other band. So I don't know. There's something special. I mean, people enjoy, what I do, whether it's with Soilwork or it's the Night Flight Orchestra. I guess there's something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I would say that Australians have pretty good taste. So I mean, it's really cool that we get to come back. Last time was sort of, we didn't know what to expect, but man, that was a really great tour, and I heard that some of the venues are a little bit of a step up, and so I think the fan base is growing. And last time was such a good time, and I think that the crowds had a really good time, and so it definitely planted a seed, I would say. So I don't know. I mean, we have the ABBA influences as well. I don't know if that have anything to do with it as well. The kind of a relationship that ABBA has with Australia as well. Who knows? But there's something in the air. So yeah, it was love at first sight.
That's it. That's exactly right.
Mm,
So,
mm.
Give Us the Moon. I mean, the band's seventh album. You've been consistent with everything that you guys have done right from the very beginning of Internal Affairs. Did you think that, the band would continue to release new music and have a 13-year career from where it all started?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, pretty quickly we realized that we had something special because we had such a great time getting together and jamming and sort of capturing an era that we didn't really hear any bands out there, doing or whatever. And so we knew that we had something quite special from the get-go. But if people were gonna, see it the same way that we saw it, we were not really sure about that. But the first album was very much of a experiment, and it's really all over the place. It has some more maybe early '70s influences as well as early '80s. So it was sort of an experiment, but it got really good response, and I think things started to fall into place when we released the second album, Skyline Whispers. And then, Nuclear Blast picked us up, and we released Amber Galactic as well. And I think, that's really where the journey started, and we started doing some touring in Europe as well, and the response was amazing. And then we started to get Grammy nominations in Sweden, and it's like, I've been around with Soulwork for such a long time, and but never got a Grammy nomination, so that was kind of interesting. And that was in the nominations were in the rock metal genre, where Soilwork would have been, nominated if we were. So it was quite a surprise, but I think that people really felt that we were providing something that was missing in the music scene, and a lot of people's like, wow, I didn't even know that I missed this kind of stuff, but it's so refreshing, even though it sounds very kind of old school, So I think that's exactly what we wanted to provide, something that makes sense today, but obviously, there's a lot of nostalgia in it, but, it can't just be all about nostalgia.
It's interesting you say that. We had Toto Tour here about a month ago,
Oh,
and
cool. Yeah.
see the mix of young and old come together
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that sort of event, that crossover appeal that they've earned. I think that's where Night Flight Orchestra actually sit smack bang. They have that massive crossover. They have the little bit of the
Mm.
nostalgia, but they also have something new and something that's out of the box that younger audiences also appeal to. Um,
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
it's a very
Mm.
clever formula that you've got. When I say formula, it's not as if it's premeditated, but you've certainly picked
Mm.
that what's been missing, I guess, in what you do, and do it so very, very well.
Yeah, because I mean, we feel that it's also, it's so much more than, a bunch of metal musicians getting together and so, oh, look at us, we can sound like Foreigner in 1978. I mean, not saying that we are, but you know what I mean? It runs way deeper than that. I think, I think it because we heard a lot of there was a lot of retro rock out there, sounding very Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath-esque kind of early 70s, and what we felt that whatever happened to the songwriting tradition of from like late 70s and early 80s, because that's sort of, if you ask me, that's the sweet spot, and so we see it more as a tradition, a way of performing songs, a way of writing songs, a way of producing songs that was such a were kind of lost, and it's a very timeless thing to us. And I mean, obviously, Toto is in there as well as being a big influence in that. And that's, they created some really, really timeless stuff. And we were lucky enough to open up for Toto in Sweden a couple years back as well. So that was really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, there's something in there, and we're really sincere in what we're doing. Obviously we have some of the gimmicks and tongue-in-cheek stuff, but we're also very serious about our music, and I think we have like that concept, that really works, and people can really feel the presence in the music, and um, yeah, I think it's that's what people are really feeling, and when we play live, it's on a whole different level as well.
Yeah, for sure. Now,
Mm.
you touched on being out here with soil work before, and without sort of making this about soil work.
Mm.
I first discovered you through soil work, so your voice, and when I heard that
Okay.
it's Night Flight Orchestra, I went, "Holy shit!" This is something
Yeah.
very different for you,
Yeah.
and a real flex for you. I think I fell in love with the music before I knew who was in the band, and for me, that's always something that's very refreshing. And then to find out that one of my favorite vocalists has stepped out of what would almost seem a comfort zone or almost a style, although there is that evolution through the soil work material. How
Yeah.
much of a
Yeah.
challenge of it was it for you personally to go and be able and deliver these AOR and yacht rockish style
Yeah.
of songs vocally?
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I felt that it was a calling. It was something that I really wanted to do and wanted to explore. And I mean, I wasn't really. I could sort of hear in my own head that I could sort of pull it off, but you never really know what's going to come out in the end. So, but when we got together for the first time and jammed in, like, I think and the seed was planted sort of in 2007, but we got together for the first time when, took some time to find some members, and it was 2010 in the summer, I think it was, or 2009. Um, and I was like, I think I can pull this off. There's something there, and something that I've been longing to do. And I've had side projects before, Terror 2000, that was more like thrash, which I love as well, and but I never done something more like in the vein of sort of rock, pop, AOR, or whatever. And I was longing to explore that side of me, and something really cool came out, and it was one of the greatest kicks of my musical kicks of my career, and after that, I mean, it was such creative times, and we wrote so many songs, and I found out so many new things about my voice, which was amazing, So it was sort of like a new era for me starting there, as a vocalist, and yeah, I feel, if you're gonna have a side project, do something completely different, I can highly recommend it to, it's really cool, and I feel very grateful that I can, be in two established bands in different genres. It's really cool, and so it's I guess it's the best of both worlds. In a sense.
Absolutely. Now, when we go back and we look at obviously the influence that this style of music has had on you. I mean, what was the first music that touched you? Was it heavy stuff, or was it the stuff that you'd sort of heard through, siblings or whatever?
Yeah. Trying to think of one of, I mean, I got my first like heavy metal album when I was 7. Um, and that was Number of the Beast. But even in like sort of what do you say, preschool, like what do you call that? Daycare? No, it's not daycare. Or what is it?
Yeah,
Like preschool. Like
preschool
yeah,
before.
when you're like 6 years old. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there was a kid there who got like cassettes from his brother and was playing a lot of Wasp and Twisted Sister, and I really enjoyed that as well. But I didn't really, what is it I'm listening to? It's like, and then when I saw the cover of Number of the Beast at a gas station, a cassette, I asked my mom, can we please buy that one? There was just something about it, and I think a lot of people have the same, kind of relation to Maiden, and put it in the car stereo, and then my life changed there. But at the same time, my mom was playing a lot of 80s pop in the car. Like, it was a lot of Eurythmics. That was one of my favorites. And then it's one of my all-time favorites. And Annie Lennox as a singer as well. And
God.
that was really all over the place, and I remember one of the first sort of I mean, I was really into Alan Parsons Project when I was a kid. My friend who lived very close to me. His brother had a lot of vinyls, and I remember we were listening to Alan Parsons Project and also Sweet, and I really love the harmonies and that stuff. So those are my first sort of you know musical introductions, whether it being heavy metal or just pop or rock, I would say.
It's funny how those lines blur. I grew up on a very staple diet of 70s rock,
Yeah,
influenced by uncles and whatever. I became a sponge for music. And again, I guess probably like you, that 81, 82 period of where I really discovered metal. I was a Kiss fan, but I really then started to branch out to, your Wasps and your Twisted Sister. So our musical journeys are very, very similar.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
probably a few years difference in age between all of that. But it's funny. Great music is great music, and music that impacts you, I think, is very, very important. It leaves that lasting
yeah.
memory.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's so cool about being in this band, because we can move between different genres on the same album, and that's a great kick. There are really no limitations there. We can be influenced from so many things and sort of in the end tying everything together, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's nice to have that freedom and that flow. And that's the other thing I love about the band is that, no two songs are alike with the Night Flight Orchestra's
Right.
catalogue. And that's the beauty of it.
Mm.
Now live, I mean, putting together a band, and it's a big band, it's an 8-piece band. Um,
Yeah.
how important was reproducing what you guys do in the studio live?
Well, I mean, it is important, but I also believe that it should be a different thing. It should be as free as we are in our sound, and songwriting. I think it should also be a bit of a different thing live, and that's really when things start to sparkle, literally, because it's like we obviously have the outfits and everything, and I always wanted to have like a real rock show the way it was meant to be, something that I wanted to see myself. It needs to be quite spectacular, and this is not an arena band, yet. I mean, it's only it's only a matter of budgets, because there's really so many things you can do with the concept that we have. The romanticized traveling and the stewardess and the fictive airline, all that stuff. So there's so many things that you can do, and I like to have this band do more sort of an evening with concerts, rather than just go out there like you do in the metal world. It's like a 4 band package, and then you play like 6 days of the week, and you can do it for 5 weeks. And I've done all of that, and I want to be a bit more selective, in a way, and then give each and every show a bit more attention, and you know make it like an evening with feeling. And so I think it's, we have the songs, but I want, I want the full package. And I believe when we're really on fire, I think we really have that, and
Yeah.
it's a great feeling. You feel almost like you're sort of like levitating. It's like it's a really great feeling. And when you really get that connection to the crowd, it's something really special.
What were your favourite memories from the first Night Flight Orchestra tour to Australia?
Well, I mean, we didn't know what to expect. We did a bunch of press before, and we didn't really get any like a pre-sale numbers. But I mean, the turnout was really good, and the crowds were ecstatic and knew so many of the lyrics too, and were singing so loud, and so it was absolutely amazing. And I mean, just we were traveling to Australia, and that's obviously a long journey. And we connected through Doha, Qatar, and I remember getting a phone call from my mom who tells me she's done some tests and she needs to tell me that she has breast cancer. And it's like, oh, like I'm on the way to the other side of the world, and that was really rough to get that call. But then, coming to Australia, it's like I felt like I was really surrounded by family, with the band, but also the crowds, absolutely amazing. And I had to keep it together through that tour, and a lot of thoughts running through my head, and but it really helped, having these kind of crowds, and meeting so many fantastic people, and who really appreciated what we were doing, and everything culminated in Melbourne, where we had the last show on that tour. And there was something special about that night, and absolutely like electric, and coming off stage, I kind of broke down because I had to keep it together, and it all sort of, it was such a beautiful moment, and I felt like everything's gonna be all right, and that's when I wrote uh, Melbourne May I, about sort of that experience, because how it culminated. So it's a bit of a tribute.
Fantastic. That was actually my
Yeah.
next question to ask you about the origin
Okay. Yeah.
of Melbourne
It's
May
probably
I,
going
but
to pop
that's
up
great
sooner or
because
later.
we're
Yeah.
pushing time. Unfortunately, I could speak to you for hours, mate. There
Yeah.
is so much
Yeah.
I'd like to deep dive into, but
Yeah.
obviously this is about the tour and the shows. You've got some amazing support acts with you along the way as well. Uh,
Mm. Yeah.
so
Cool.
really, really looking forward to the Melbourne show, which I'll be at. Love the album. And how's the response been globally to Give Us the Moon?
Really good, I would say. I mean, it's been quite a journey, obviously, with the passing of our guitarist, David Anderson, who was very much of a, he wrote a lot of material, and was obviously a key figure. I started the band with him, so it's after his passing, we need to grieve, as friends and as band members, and then try to find the joy within the music again. And we had to dig really deep. So coming out on the other side, and we feel very proud of what we put together, and the response have been really amazing. And so I hope we made David proud. We made ourselves proud, and we showed all the doubters out there that we can, still pull it off. So that's a fantastic thing.
Fantastic, Bjorn. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time, my friend. Travel safe on your way out here, and we'll see
Thank
you
you.
in Melbourne in 2 weeks. The tour starts on the 29th of May through to the 2nd of June, I think. And we look forward to having you out here. And again, thank you for coming out.
Thank you for the support, and see you there.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks,
Have
man.
a great
Okay, there
night.
you go. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
You too. Bye.